pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming to the February meeting of the Montrose Borough. As always, we'll start with anyone wishing to address council as a reminder, because it is new. Well, part of it is new. 5 minutes at the top, you can talk about anything you want. We do have a new section at the bottom called public response. That is an opportunity for you to talk again, but specifically about whatever is addressed in this meeting tonight, if you have any responses or questions about that. So with that said, is there anyone wishing to address council?
Clarice first.
Okay.
That's you, Kelly.
I first off want to congratulate the MJ2KB. They were awarded, if you did not see, the DCNR Trail of the Year. That's a big deal. I was a part of the meeting that actually kind of helped them. And so it was Teresa to kind of say, yes, we should sign up for this. And I'm super excited that they were awarded that. So well deserved on that one. Wreath cleanup for Wreaths Across America should be by the end of the month. I have been just kind of watching the weather, trying to make it to where it's not super cold, but also not super icy. So we're waiting on that one, but I'll be looking forward to that being cleaned up, and those will be going out back to the Sportsman Club to be burned as we've done in the past 2 years. The library is looking at fundraising things. There's a new committee at the library, and I'm going to pass this around. And pretty much from like the Heritage Park idea, we think that possibly selling bricks that would say something like in memory of, etc. So I ordered a sample of it, of the brick, just to have it.
Hey, I don't need the gavel anymore.
No. It's like chucking bricks.
It's kind of weird walking around town with a brick in your hand too, just saying, kind of strange. But I know that is property of the borough, so that is something we would definitely be discussing. It has not been brought up to the board meeting at the library, because I just got the brick last week, and our board meeting for the library is this week. But I definitely wanted to address the council and go, would that be a possibility for us to do around the sidewalk? It would not be the sidewalk, it would just be the external border around the sidewalk. The goal would obviously be to sell as many as we can until we can't sell anymore. So that is definitely something that is a possibility. If we purchase like 100 bricks, then it's only $18 a brick for us to purchase. And then, you know, that's a good money maker right there. I think a lot of people would definitely want their name, etc. So just a thought to think of, and I will address this with the board on Wednesday and see what their thoughts are. And if we feel that this is a thing that the library should do, we can definitely submit that to the borough and get approval on that and all of the ins and outs of that project. So, thank you.
Is that all you have?
That is all.
Question.
Yes.
Having not been to the board, you probably don't have any idea what you would like to sell them for, is that correct?
I would sell them for $100 a piece. They say they usually sell them for that, for $100.
Well, we also said we were gonna see what they sell bricks here
Exactly.
for and try and be reasonably comparable.
Yeah. And the thing is, we don't need to go with this company. I just wanted a free sample. So if we go with the same company that does a heritage brick, so we don't take from personal from local, we can definitely do that. But I believe that they are $100 at the Heritage Park as well. Is that correct?
They were when we first.
They were
initially started
85 the
selling
last, but you said to
We
move
bumped
them
them
up
up.
to 100.
Because they cost more. I can't remember, they're out of Du Bois,
Yeah.
something monument.
Yeah, the
Court.
court.
Court, okay.
Got a question. It goes around the border of the sidewalk and a rainy day or what have you. How slippery will those be to walk on?
They're very similar to the ones at Heritage Park, so are those slippery bags.
No, these seem pretty, they got
Pretty
pretty good
porous.
grit, yeah.
That way you don't have a lawsuit on you.
Yeah, yeah. And these would just be the outskirts of the sidewalk.
But people will walk on them if they're out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, a good question.
All right.
That's why I get more written on it, so it's more traction.
Yeah.
Any additional questions about the bricks?
The kids are not gonna do the break.
Jim, did you have something?
Yeah, with the recent rail derailment in Palestine, Ohio on Friday night, my meeting next week, I intend to review our emergency management plan there. There's just
just gonna make a suggestion to the borough that they probably ought to review everything too. I don't know when the last time we have done it with it up here, but especially with the tracks going right through town there, and if they say they had to evacuate a 2 mile area, that would also include the township, their portion of it, so just a reminder.
But, well, thank you for that. All right, is, anyone else have anything to bring before council? All right, we will close public comment for now, and we will move on to the business portion of the meeting, and start with the mayor's report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. First of all, congratulations to the news. I know I missed last meeting, but I'm very excited for you and look forward to working with you. And congratulations to the Trail Club. I'm planning on sending them a formal congratulations letter this month, so it's very exciting for our community and definitely well deserved. And Jim, thank you for bringing that up. That's actually something I wanted to talk about and address is updating our emergency response plan and also including it, with the cold temperatures. Brad and I had talked about what happens in the case of a power outage for an extended period of time. So I think that I'm hoping to connect with some like local entities just to think about what that looks like, in addition to the rails, of course. And then additionally, I know some of you might have seen that King recently had a Citizen of the Year award and a Business of the Year award. I know we don't have a formal Chamber of Commerce. I know the coalition acts in some of the capacity, but I think that might be something nice to consider. I'm gonna hopefully touch base with the coalition about looking to that in not too bad.
So we just awarded our first one for the Hamlin Bank,
Oh, nice.
and then we also have a volunteer that was our resident that we are actually preparing for right now.
So it is
So yes.
something we want to continue doing, so we'd love to.
Yeah, I think some
Work
sort
with
of
you on
Great
that.
minds,
yeah,
see minds.
a formal event I think would be really nice. So
Oh, good idea.
that's all I have.
Anything else? Okay. All right, we'll move on to the maintenance report. Should have it in the packets. Did I hear a very quiet motion?
Motion to approve her.
Oh, sorry,
Oh, yeah.
apologies.
Do we need the motion to mayor's?
Let's back up. I apologize. I'm new here. Motion to accept the mayor's report.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Now we'll go to the maintenance report.
I'll make a motion to approve the maintenance report.
I'll
Frank's
second.
a motion, Frank second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Take a look at the manager's report. There are some actionable things that need to be discussed here.
Okay, just to let everybody know, we didn't get the fall round of the DCNR grant. The next round, they usually don't have a fall round. The next round is open. If you guys are interested in applying for it, we can. We did talk to, Erin
Wiley?
Morley,
Yeah, I
Morley,
think so.
and she gave us some pointers to try to make the next one
She
better.
was actually very thorough, did a
Yeah.
lot of good information.
Bob Felix from the county informed me that the grant that we got for the sidewalks is opening, let me see, on March 29th. If you guys would like to try to get the rest of the sidewalks done, we can do it. Although it would require engineering drawings, just like we did last time.
We wouldn't have to use the same engineer, would we?
Well, the drawings E and M did last time.
I was trying to be diplomatic.
When we had the drawings done, E and M Engineering.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we apply for that grant,
For the sidewalk?
yes.
I'll second that motion.
All right. So a motion on the floor from Brett, seconded by Chris, to go for the expansion of the sidewalk project grant.
So what's the drawings gonna cost?
Last time it was about $3,500.
I think it was 2,000 last time.
Was it $2,000?
Yeah. That would be something that we should probably check into before,
Well, absolutely, call them, see what it's gonna cost, and bring it to the next meeting,
okay? Do you want me to have E and M?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just the next step. This vote is to formalize that we're going to take that step
Okay,
and move forward on figuring out how much it will cost and how we do that, so.
okay.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you on that. While we're motioning and discussing things, do we want to, have Barb and I go for that grant for, again, the one we didn't get, to try again for the amphitheater grant?
Yes, absolutely.
What's the match on it, 50% match?
50% match on this one?
50% match?
But we can use the,
The 20
we can use the 120,000,
towards that?
Towards the
Right.
match.
right?
And
And
that
this
is-
would probably be the last round we're gonna be able to use it because
Okay,
it's gotta be spent by 2024.
okay,
And as you guys might recall, when we first developed this project, it was a project that was designed to be able to be done in phases. So, we don't have to be able to complete the whole project with the funding that we have right now, so if we don't get enough funding to do the whole thing, we can start with the patio, we can add maybe a basic, but basically, it's something we don't have to be able to fund the whole thing at once before we can get going and start making it happen. So, if we're interested, I'll entertain a motion to approve us to move forward on that.
Motion.
Second.
All right, Chuck and Brett, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, is there anything else actionable on here, Barb? I don't think so.
Barb, how long, if we decide to, do the electronics, recording of our meetings, how long do we have to keep the copies?
We do
I would
have
have
one
to
later,
look it up, but I think it's, 7 years.
7 years?
and we do have, that is under new business, we will.
Oh, sorry, I just,
So you're fine,
I just saw that.
we will be discussing this.
Okay,
Okay, I have spoken to the people from the fire on
Yes.
Division Street. When I spoke to them last week, it had not been released for anybody to go on the site. I guess I don't know, the insurance company's got questions and the fire marshal has questions, so they were going to do a deposition or something last Friday. I haven't heard anything from it. But they do have somebody lined up to take it down when the money's released, so,
So that's good news,
yeah,
excellent. All right,
okay?
thank you, Barb, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
Motion.
Second,
second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Tom?
Who motion, Tom?
Chris second, sorry. All right. Take a moment to look over the minutes if you've not done so already.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Chris makes a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Tom seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, take a look at the treasurer's report, payment of bills.
Barb, is that pretty standard as far as the amount that came in from the tax collector?
For the end of the year,
Yeah.
it was a little bit more than I expected. That would have been everybody that paid till the 31st of December.
Entertain a motion to accept it. Treasurer's report, payment of bills.
I'll motion it.
Chris motions.
I'll second.
Brett seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll move on to our committee reports, maintenance of streets and buildings.
Talking with Rick and them, I mean, things, just mainly keeping things moving for winterize. You saw his report as far as working on the trucks and stuff, make sure they're
everything's up to snuff on him to go out, but, he's working on his list as far as things for the springtime, as far as to get on to it, but
Good.
nothing they can work or do right now anyhow, most of it.
I got some stuff.
Sure.
We have an electrical issue with the building.
Oh, yes.
Davis Electric was here, over the past couple days. They rerouted the lights for the office. There's a problem in the conduit where the electric's shorting out. Thankfully, nobody bumped up against it or had a problem when it was shorting, cause that wouldn't have been good. Tom's working up a price to get it fixed, but there's not many options. It needs to be repaired properly. So when that happens, we'll let everybody know, but right now it's temporarily routed in with some other components on our box. We got a 200 amp service. I think we have one free breaker back there.
Where is the problem in the conduit? Where is that?
It's where it goes through the cinder block wall and they can't budge it.
Drops down into the basement.
Yeah, I think it just, we can't move it. So it needs to be chopped out and on both ends and taken out and then put stranded wire in. From what I talked to Tom about, that was what he reported to you. So,
Any preliminary guesstimate of time and cost?
no, he was gonna get a hold of me, but I kept him busy in James City for a couple hours today, so probably didn't have time. But with the cost of, just the copper wire, probably not gonna be the cheapest thing in the world. What are you gonna do? It's either that or
Yeah,
burn down the grill building.
electrical costs, I mean, like conduits and stuff are just sickening to think when you pay a stick of that.
So, that's all I got.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Tom?
What's that?
Anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay. We'll move on to finance.
I don't have much, but seeing how we just talked about a couple of things, I'll be sitting down with my committee to see where we might be able to get some extra money from for the grants and for the electrical work.
Okay. Sounds good. That's it?
That's all.
All right. Personnel?
I received a call from all three employees on a conference call on January 9th. There was an extreme matter of, shall we say, disgruntlement amongst them. And I spent probably 30 to 40 minutes on the phone discussing the matter and what potential resolves there were and what we could or could not do. Perhaps I was not much more than a good sounding board, I don't know. But then subsequently, I know there was discussion between the employees and Personnel Committee member Morgan and also with President Hughes. It seems to be relatively tranquil at this point. And I did speak with all three employees. I made contact with them last week. And everything seemed to be going okay at this time. And so let's just hope for the best. That's all I have.
Chuck, I got a little to add with you. We had spoke on redoing the personnel policy.
Yes.
And we do have that, Barb printed out a policy that we had, I don't know, almost 20 years ago. The new policy that was made a few years ago is quite cumbersome and doesn't fit the borough. So me and Chuck will be working on that and hopefully presenting something in the coming months. While we're on that subject, last year we gave, in lieu of raise, we gave floating holidays, 2. And it was for 1 year to be brought up again. I talked to the guys and I talked to Barb about it. We did that one other time when we gave federal holidays in lieu of a pay raise on a tax raise year, and it stayed. Anytime we give raises, they stay. It just doesn't seem quite fair to, well, we're gonna give you a raise, but just for this year, and that raise is gonna be 2 floating holidays, but we're taking it away next year. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, so I'd like to make a motion to the fact that we put those floating holidays as permanent and include them in the new personnel policy when we do it.
There was, let me just clarify, there was 2 added
Correct, Barb? 2 floating holidays?
last year
One,
in lieu of a raise, there
Yeah.
was two
So-
floating holidays.
It costs us nothing.
Right, what is the total number of floating holidays they have, just for
It
the
would
record?
be 3?
We have
Your
our birthday and one.
Yeah, so it would be 4 floating holidays, basically.
So there's a motion on the floor by Brett to make the 2 additional floating holidays added last year ongoing,
I'll second that.
seconded by Chuck. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Me,
Okay, motion carries.
I didn't hear.
Frank opposed.
I think we have anything else, do we?
Nope.
Okay. We will move on to community development, planning and parks. Frank?
Not a whole lot's going on.
Okay.
Like you and I discussed, sometime March, probably have the first meeting.
Mhm.
But then we'll probably have enough people, maybe with enough interest.
How many people have you had total interest?
I will,
I have what, 2, I think.
I've spoken to several and I've gotten a lot there, and then one came through the email, but I will share a very bizarre thing that happened is I found out that Gmail, shut down our brand new email account we created because it violated some policy of theirs. We'd never even logged into it or used it. So I don't know. The only thing I could think of is it was Mount Jewett PAC, and maybe they thought it was like a political action committee.
Ah,
And that could be our mistake, maybe need to change it to Mount Jewett Parks. Anyways, I don't know, and I don't know when they did it, cause when I went to log in is how I found out. So I have an appeal into them, that may have impacted how many people could reach us, because emails couldn't go through right now. But like Frank said, we have till March. If I have to change the email address, I will. Otherwise, yeah, that's where we're at, sorry, go ahead.
No. You and I talk about this though. We're gonna go back and forth. I'm not sure if there's really anything else, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, you and I discussed the possibility of automatic locks and things of that nature, and
Well, what the heck are you talking about?
for the bathrooms, actually unlock themselves, lock themselves.
Bart,
Yeah, well, we talked about it.
We were just
Things
discussing
down the road.
there, and maybe if
Nothing
they,
we're
we
doing
actually
right now.
go on over here. But if we were to do it like the normal, just Bluetooth deadbolt, then it needs a person to,
Yeah, especially when we get the bathrooms here, and then we get new bathrooms out there,
Right.
which is obviously down the road.
but they make this neat
Being
little
into
thing
there, we don't have to have one of our
called the
people
Raspberry.
come lock in at
Oh,
night.
okay.
You know, we could just.
It's basically like an
Or you can
8086
schedule it.
computer, except it's this big.
So,
And they're like, I don't know, $80, plus the program to make it go open, close whenever. That's if you really wanted to go that route.
yeah.
Okay, just curious.
Right. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
All right, moving on to fire department. The big news out of the fire department is that the fire police captain resigned and moved away. And there is currently no fire police at the fire department. What they have told us is if there is a need for fire police in the time being, just reach out to fire department themselves, and they will be happy to take care of fulfilling those needs or reaching out to our neighboring communities. If this is still an issue at Swedish Festival, that happened last year. We got help from Smith Board. I think Kane came out and helped, and they gave them like a free chicken barbecue or something. So they'll do what they can. They'll do what they need to do to help us as needed. They just do not currently have fire police, and then they're going to look at whether or not they want to. That's really all I got for that. Anybody else? All right. Library. She's not here. I don't think there's anything going on in the library that wasn't kind of already addressed.
No, the meeting Wednesday.
So
I say, did I miss the meeting?
No, it's Wednesday.
Well, the last meeting, you missed the last one.
But that was the day before, after you passed me on it.
That's right, but there wasn't
Vice
nothing
President.
major moving happening, you know.
Barb's the vice president now.
That did happen. I forgot.
Are you really?
At the library.
Barbara's vice president, she joined the board and was, voted in as vice president. Congrats, Barb.
Congratulations.
I think that'll be a good presence for the library.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Sewer committee, I went to the meeting, they have a lot of different things they're trying to do, a lot of things. make any final decisions, but they're looking into a lot of different things, so there's really nothing to report from this month's meeting. So,
It's Wednesday at 10:30 if anybody wants to come.
so we'll see. They don't, like I said, they're just it's all exploratory at this point. Let's get a price here, a price there, so. We'll see, but it's a lot of different things. It's an aging system, so you deal with that.
Still flowing downhill, huh?
Go for that too.
Hold on, Phil.
And
That's the summary.
Paydays every other Friday, don't bite your fingernails.
All right. Hamlin Township Sewer Committee.
Still in progress. We'll update next time.
Okay. All right, moving on to old business. On the bike racks, Barb and I talked a little bit about this, and I do wanna say something related to that, because Kelly and I went to the, equivalent of our trail club in Kane, to their meeting. And they were talking all about trail towns and how they are able to capitalize on and benefit from being on trails. And one of the things that they're going to accomplish this year is opening up and finishing that stretch of the trail that connects to 219, which will officially connect Kane to the Kinzig Bridge through here. And it's a 70-mile trail that is coming along, and it is getting close to being completely open. It's gonna be connected to other trail networks. It is a huge opportunity for us as a community, because we are the last stop before and after the bridge. And the bridge is the last stop of the trail. So a lot of the businesses could talk about bike racks, but I do think it's something that as a municipality, we should consider, because that's a lot of potential people coming. There are people who ride these trails for days, and they stay in the various towns, and they eat in them. I'd love to talk to potential business developer and investors, because this is the time to get into Mount Jewett, because these people are coming. I think with the amphitheater here, we should be open to having some bike racks by our borough building, maybe back once that's in, and really just consider putting some in ourselves. Heritage Park, places where they're going to possibly stop and wanna, put their $1,000 bike somewhere secure. So,
All cheap bikes,
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
a lot of them are like $2,500
Oh, yeah.
now.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's what I mean.
my
It's like-
kid's
Not
got
much for
7,000 in
1,000.
his.
Right,
that
so,
much, yes.
okay, and that's kind of my point, is like, if we want to entice them and encourage them to come in, I think as a municipality, we should do our part, and we had tabled this until the sidewalks were done, part of them are done. I'm not saying we fill the town with bike racks, but I'm saying we'd be part of it.
We know what they cost.
I do not.
We gotta get those recreation magazines still, don't we?
I think there's some out there.
Well, why don't we just
I
look
think
up
Frank
and
brought
see?
some in.
We used to get them all the time, they're almost like junk mail. But why don't we just see
Yeah.
what they cost?
I
and then
think
we can
Carolyn
make
sent
decisions.
some prices once.
Well, she might have,
She might have, but
but, I mean, you can't imagine that they're terribly expensive,
I don't think so.
$100 a piece.
So, I would like to see us get in that business at least a little bit, and see how it goes as the trail expands, so that's all I wanted to say about that. And yeah, we should get some prices and talk about that. All right, does anybody else have anything on old business that maybe isn't on here? All right, moving on to new business. Record video meetings. Right now, obviously Teresa's recording the meetings, and that's fine. She can continue to do that, but I think that it would be in the interest of the borough for us to be recording and having ownership of the digital file of our own meetings as well. Like Barb mentioned when Chris asked, it would be beholden to the open records laws, so we would have to keep them on file. We do already have the equipment on hand to record the meetings. We have an iPad that could be set up, that could do the recording. They can be set up on YouTube. I've looked into it. Other municipalities are able to do this. It's not an issue because it's all public. So we could have our own YouTube page. We could then put it on our page. In relation to this, I also recommend that we set up a Facebook page for the borough. That is the Mount Jewett Borough Facebook page. The video goes on that page. If we have an announcement that we need to tell our citizens about, we're gonna do road construction here, we're gonna close it, whatever it is, we can keep them informed through that portal as well as our website. I think we need to kind of embrace technology a little more than what we have been. And the only expense I think that we could think of, I don't know if you had a chance to look into any of our external hard drives, what we have is we may have to get a storage
I have one.
drive.
There's one out there.
Do you remember how big it is?
2 terabytes.
Oh, no, that's big.
Yeah, it's, you and I looked at it.
Yeah. I mean, they're not that expensive. It would be once one fills up if we.
that's the one that was bought for, Yeah, ordinance?
It was bought for what?
For
I have no
ordinance?
idea where it came from,
Oh,
it's just
Talking
in a
about the
drawer
iPad,
out
or you're
there.
talking about the backup?
The backup.
The iPad, I think, was for ordinance.
Oh, iPad was for
The
ordinance.
iPad was for ordinance, the other one was
Backup,
in
I
the
think
drawer
we've
out
had
there,
it. Yeah,
in the
we've had it
boroughs.
for quite a
I
while.
think Teresa might have bought it, but I don't know why.
With the Facebook thing, two things. I think it would behoove us to live stream it, just so people could watch it, you know what I mean, because at the same time. Second, if we're gonna do that, I would, insist that we shut off the comment sections on that. I don't need
Oh,
the
yeah,
town squabbling and having our Facebook page turn into
No,
some
I
sort
agree,
of debate forum.
because they'll be able to message us through it, so if they want
Put
to
a message is fine,
they can
but I
come
just don't
to
want a
us.
bunch of.
No, I see that, yeah, that's
You
fair.
can lock that out.
Yeah.
It'd be
I don't
nothing
have
but
Facebook,
your
but I
announcement
know
and
that.
that's it.
right.
If somebody wants to share it, they could share it, but otherwise that's
They
it.
can't go on and.
Yeah, they can't go on, they can't.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
and I'm
that's,
fine
that's
with,
kind of the best way, I would think.
I
Yeah,
have to
Yeah.
look into, and she might even know, but with the live streaming, which I think is fine, I just wanna also make sure that we would then have a physical hard copy that we can hold.
Yeah, we don't
Here,
have to
so,
have
yeah.
two, we don't have to have two different pieces of
Right.
equipment recording.
Because for legal reasons, we have to have the copy that we can hold, but live streaming is a great idea, because it would get more people who can watch what we're
It's
doing.
my understanding that if we live stream it, we don't have to keep it. But if we keep it, we have, when I read that email, if we live streamed it and it was not physically saved, then we didn't have to keep it. But if we keep it, we, have something like, cause we wanted to send it to the Bradford area, cause they're not able to send a correspondent. So we send it to them, we can't just record it just for them, if we record it, we have to keep it. But if we live stream it, it's not
Right.
saved, we don't have to, that's what,
Well, Facebook
PSAP
saves it though.
So Facebook will save it until you decide to delete it.
So
And
Facebook
they
would
could
save
actually
it.
go to your Facebook page and see the live.
Well, I don't know how
So
Facebook, I don't have Facebook, but.
We'll look into the logistics of that. If we can live stream it and also save it, that'd be great. I'd love to do both. But I was bringing it up to make sure that everyone on council, how we feel about recording our own videos, having our own Facebook page, and kind of having ownership of that.
I'd recommend a motion, let's vote on it, just so you got it.
Well, there you go. I'll take a motion then to, for both. I'm gonna do both. Motion to record our own videos and store them or live stream, whatever the legal requirements are, and have our own Facebook page.
I'll motion it.
I'll second it.
All right, Brett motions, Chris seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
I got
Got
something to
something?
bring up, but, I had it written down, but didn't jog my memory till I come down in town and the lights were on in town. First off, I think they look great. I had many great comments. I've had a couple that's passed through or was coming through and said, holy cow, you guys got a runway down there?
That's what I heard.
But they were, just cracking a joke. It wasn't being mean about it. But, I talked to Brett once about with those being as bright as they are, why do we have to keep the ones up on the pole above them? And he said something about PennDOT, said that, they're not classed as a,
They are not a certified traffic light. They are a decorative light. They have not, because of bureaucracy, they could not, even though they have more lumens than the ones that are currently up, they're not classified as an actual DOT approved streetlight, which is ridiculous. So that's why the other ones, I'm not saying they can't go away. Until the project is over, and all the inspections are done, they can't go away. But that's the other thing.
I was
PennDOT
gonna say,
doesn't pay for
we
them.
pay for the other, the
Right, we
lights
pay for all of
anyway.
them.
Right.
PennDOT doesn't pay for
Right.
any of them.
Right.
They provide no funding, but this is what you have to have if you put them in. And if you replace them, they gotta be to their standards. So we haven't replaced them, we've just added to them. There's not a shadow to be cast on Main Street.
So in other words, later down the road, they'll bring
If
something.
something happens, oh no, what happened?
What do we pay per light per month?
Or,
Don't we pay so much per light on the poles?
yeah, I don't know what it
Oh,
is per
I
light,
don't
I
know
know
what
it
the
is,
state's already
I know what
done.
it is
What
for
do you
all
want
of them. It was, I just paid it today, it was $999.
For some reason, I wanted to say it was well, when we got the LEDs or whatever,
It
it's
should be
in
like
there,
14 grand
it
each.
dropped them down to like five something a light.
Yeah, cause when I was here
Originally it was
before, it
7
was
or
up
8
to like
bucks, and it
18
dropped
or
it down.
20, but I'm not sure how many lights we have.
Yeah, the LED has significantly brought down the cost.
I mean, I know
of
it's not
electric
gonna
costs.
knock the cost down and whatnot, but
It just would look nice, but they weren't there.
It'd be cleaner through town, yeah, we wouldn't have the extra lights.
I'd like to make a comment, President Hughes.
Yes, sir.
In conjunction with the streetlights, which were a big part of the sidewalk program. You know, pretty much everything we do here is gratis. There's no financial remuneration for council. I'd just like to give credit where credit's due. Brett Morgan took this project on. It should have been done a long time ago. It got tied up in bureaucracy for several reasons, none of which are worthy of rehashing. But I believe the community owes a great deal of thanks to Mr. Morgan. Now, he wasn't the only one, Barb.
Okay, don't forget Barb.
There were a lot of other people that went the extra mile and put effort into this, but were it not for Brett and Barb, we would not have. Matter of fact, we came this stinking close to losing it because of one or two people in town that couldn't keep their mouth shut. And Brett went out of his way to see to it that we did not lose the funding in the project. And what you see now, and there was a lot of controversy about who was gonna get this chunk torn out and that chunk, and now you see the end, and I believe it justified the means, which is even more so why we need to push for any grant monies that are available for additional sidewalk projects. Because now we see what can be done there, but I'm gonna just lay it out there as a matter of public record, how much we need to appreciate the effort of Brett and Barb to get that done.
Thanks, I really appreciate it.
It
Means a lot. That's, that project is 50% of the reason why I'm not sitting where Jason is right now, because it was a pain.
But the accomplishment,
It really is.
as
Well, you were
pointed out,
called
everyone-
constantly.
Everyone has nothing but praise for it, you guys. It's an amazing something for our town that you brought, so something to definitely be proud of. Does anyone have anything else? Or we'll move on to public response. Anyone out there have anything? Miss Hughes.
Forgot to congratulate the ambulance and the fire departments. They received, I think, $14,000 and $10,000 from the state, from the county. So that was a big deal that they just received. A lot of them did. I think over 37 units in the county received money, so we were in that mix, and I was proud to see that. The technical school built the bike rack down here for the trail club. I don't know if that's an option too, maybe at least for a couple of them. Yeah.
Okay.
So that might be an option, might be a little cheaper. I don't know if they paid anything for it, but that's at least something. If it's
Probably
a more
material.
direct decorative ones, maybe we have a couple decorative ones and a couple
Right.
standard ones, that could be an option.
It's a little more, just the fact that it's local, that gives the kids something to do.
And I
Well,
don't
when
know how long
Tom's
that
kids
project took, but I don't know.
they don't charge, can't charge for labor.
We just charge
So
for
it's
materials.
materials, like when I had that map drawer built by my class over there, the borough paid for the materials and that was that. So you can have things done, and that's just the case there, would you probably pay for the steel, the metal to put it together and.
Powder coating or whatever we wanna.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
So if it's not every one of them, at least a couple of them, I think that would be nice to have, just, welcome to Mount Jewett kind of thing. I don't know, cause I know theirs looks like a train. It's a train.
Yeah.
Also on Facebook, your comments are naturally turned off every time you make a post. You actually, when you create an event and stuff like that, those are naturally turned off, so you can actually, it's a thing to go in there to turn them on, so
Is
that
that
helps you guys.
if we're a business unit or municipality?
For a business, I don't know about municipality.
Okay,
I've
cool.
never created one.
All right, great. Anyone else have anything? All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Tom?
Second.
Chris? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.